I'm aware to the fact that the Toronto Raptors just played probably the best team in the NBA right now. I'm aware to the fact that our schedule has been brutal as of late, facing a bunch of West Coast teams, dealing with ref troubles and travel and all things like that. I'm aware to all these things and that the schedule is getting easier. Maybe things will turn around, and I am hopeful that this Toronto Raptors team is able to turn things around. And I'm also aware watching this Celtics game, watching this performance from the Toronto Raptors, that there were moments that where this team looks really good. Things are coming together. That early run in the third quarter, RJ Barrett's playing well in tonight's game, Emmanuel Quickly's balling out, everything like that. There are parts and pieces of this team which I really enjoy. I really love. But it just feels like the on the court stuff, the off the court stuff, the hundreds of rumors, and I didn't even cover the ones that dropped today. Might address some of them in this video, but it just feels like things are over. Now, I made a video about a month ago saying, it's time, something has to happen, and a move did happen. And the Raptors looked rejuvenated. The team is more balanced. It's a better roster than we had, before that OG Anunoby trade sort of went down. And I'm still of the opinion that this roster, as is currently constructed, could be good. It could be a great team in the East. But frankly, the Toronto Raptors have dug themselves a ridiculous hole. They've dug themselves a position in the Eastern Conference where it doesn't look that great right now. Things continue to get worse, and given the fact Pascal Siakam, Masai Ujiri are extremely far apart, according to Brian Windhorst, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, with all these reports sort of alluding to the fact that a contract extension is not coming, watching it all play out there on the basketball court, it seems like even though these players are really good, even though this Raptors roster has a lot of really nice pieces, and they're going head to head, toe to toe with some of the best teams in the NBA and holding their own. With the exception of that Utah Jazz game, the Toronto Raptors have looked frankly amazing. Since that trade went down, it feels like there's some sort of apathy. It feels like not just from the reports, but from this team. Watching them play out there on the actual court, in between those lines, it feels like there's something going on. Obviously, the new guys and RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, again, with exception to that Utah Jazz game, have been awesome. But Scotty Barnes is in a weird spot right now in terms of not taking a lot of shots. It seems like he's taking a backseat to some of these guys out there on the court, which doesn't really make sense. He hasn't been playing that great. I mean, tonight's game against the Boston Celtics, Scotty Barnes only had 10 points, 5 of 12 shooting, just, not knocking down the threes, 13 boards. Not a horrible game, but, relative to an average NBA player, but bad for what Scotty Barnes is capable of doing. And Pascal Siakam, again, has been good. He's been putting up solid numbers. He's getting more shots. I mean, the floor spacing, the three-pointers, he's been getting his three-point percentage has steadily been increasing since the trade ended up going down. He's been getting more open corner threes, above the break stuff, having to create less stuff from his own, but still, you could just feel it out there on the court. Things just don't look that right for this Toronto Raptors group right now. It feels like they know a move is coming. They know a trade is sort of going to happen. And it just kills me. It kills me because you can feel it watching the games. I believe in this Toronto Raptors group. Every night that we've gone out there following this trade, I feel confident. I feel like, hey, this can be a winnable game for this Raptors squad. But right now, we're on a 4-game losing streak. We have Darko Rajakovic making weird quotes to the media, saying it's hard because all of us are so competitive. We want to win, but at the same time, we've got to know what our priorities are, and that's understanding the big picture and the transition that we're going through and how we're going to continue to build. And then obviously that can also point to how the fact that we don't have our draft pick currently for this season, if it falls outside of the top 7, and now the Toronto Raptors are right in the mix for getting their draft pick. Even though they were winning some games, even though everything was sort of looking right there for a week or so, they're bottom 6 right now. Bottom 6 tied with Memphis, so there's a chance that they could keep that pick. I mean, I don't know if I want to read too much into what Darko's saying there, but it just feels like there's something going on with this team, and it feels like another move is on the horizon. Whether it's going to help winning in the short term, the long term, I don't know. I don't care. I'm not speculating. I'm sure there'll be more reports and news. We got Sham saying that the Kings are waiting for another call back from the Toronto Raptors. We got another report dropped today. I forget what it even is. I didn't even make a video on it. I was waiting for this game to sort of see what happens and see what's going on, but it just feels like the right move was made, dealing away OG Anunoby. Even though OG is one of my favorite basketball players in the entire NBA, it was the right move. It felt like things could have been right for the Toronto Raptors if we bought into Pascal Siakam, if we extended him, if everything sort of went the way it could have ideally gone, but it didn't happen. It just didn't happen, and things aren't looking just that great. It feels like even though they're playing good, even though Siakam's still doing his thing out there again, not the greatest performance from him tonight, 5 of 15 from the field, missed 6 three-pointers, which just sucks, but 17, 4, and 5. He's still an awesome basketball player. This crushes me, man. This absolutely crushes me. The Raptors haven't won a game against any of our rivals in the Atlantic Division this entire season. It's, the Celtics are out here looking like a well-oiled machine on the offensive and defensive end. I just don't get how they have this well-rounded of a roster, but it's time. It's time for a move to go down. If you're not going to extend Pascal Siakam, no need to drag this out longer than it needs to be. I guess you're waiting for a proper package to come back, a proper deal to sort of go down. But even though there's moments where things look fun, things look great, and I'm not even diving into the analysis because, everyone trash on RJ. He's going to be good. Quickly's going to be good. RJ, our team, we're not going to win any games shooting 12% from the three-point line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Darko Rajalkovic is making some weird substitutions. Particularly in the third, when things are rolling, just you got to let those lineups kind of ride themselves out rather than throwing back in McDaniels. And Thad was actually having a pretty solid game in this one, even though he didn't score any points. But him getting not a lot of minutes, he could have gotten some more opportunities rather than the sort of Jalen McDaniels stuff. I don't know, man. Jonte Porter also got inserted to the starting unit. 15 minutes. I don't mind him on the defensive end, especially early on. He's dealt with some fouls and stuff, but in this Raptors group, we're seeing it against the top of the top, the elite of the elite. And with all the trade rumors and all that swirling, we're not going to win these games. And I feel like regardless, we're just not built to really have that sort of competitive push in the Eastern Conference right now. We need to do things to get Scotty Barnes back on track because he hasn't had, the greatest of performances since this trade has gone down. We've seen what he can do from the start of the season. Needs a ball in his hands probably more. It's killing me. It's killing me to think that we're going to have to trade Pascal Siakam probably for a lackluster package, but that's just where I'm at right now following the Celtics game. I'm not mad at this team. I'm not really mad at anyone, in particular for this loss. The Celtics are a good team, and maybe the Raptors roll out a win streak, a last thing, and then make this video relevant, bring the hype back, bring the excitement. But 4-game losing streak right now. Weird quotes from our coach. A young team with a lot of potential. I'm very bullish on this Toronto Raptors team for the future, but it just feels like it's time. Feels like it's time. I didn't want to emotionally accept it. I know the reports are saying the contract extension's there, so logically on my head, I've kind of accepted and I'm expecting the Pascal Siakam trade to come through at any point now ahead of this year's trade deadline. If there's going to be no extension, we know that's going to be the case. He's either getting extended or traded, and it doesn't seem like he's getting extended. So I've logically accepted it, but this game, just watching it out there on the court, kind of made me feel it. There's basketball stuff to talk about with this, but Raptors aren't going to win any games shooting like that. The rotations could be a little bit weird. You guys watched the game. If you didn't, you kind of get the vibe from it from this video, but all I'm saying is thank you to Pascal. I'm enjoying seeing him in a Raptors jersey and the Raptors threads for as long as we can, but it just feels like it's time. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.